Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Oh.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at something
Okay.
a bit more, I guess you could say philosophical.
Mm-hmm.
It's this whole concept of infinite goodness, which
Mm-hmm.
really got me thinking.
Yeah.
And our source material for this deep dive is this PDF called selfawareness.pdf.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. It's kind of like someone's personal reflections and insights
Right.
on self-awareness and
Yeah.
this idea of like experiencing this infinite goodness. So, you're probably thinking, like, infinite goodness, what is that?
Right. Yeah.
Sounds kind of mystical, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's really not about like unicorns and rainbows. It's more about like how the author of this document is finding the good in every situation,
Mm-hmm.
even the tough ones,
Yeah.
and seeing that good as something bigger than themselves. So, like, right away, the author talks about finding infinite goodness in the everyday things that we usually just overlook. It's
Interesting.
like, wake up, people. It's all around us, right? And they give examples like simple acts of kindness, a beautiful sunset,
Oh, yeah.
just the feeling of the sun on your skin,
That's a good one.
right? And what I find fascinating is how the author really emphasizes, consciously choosing to notice these things.
Yeah.
Like to actually find the good and apply it to their life. It's not just about like, oh, I see the good. It's about letting it shape how you live.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The author also finds this infinite goodness in what they call bad experiences.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, wait a minute. How can a bad experience be good?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Right. It seems almost contradictory. So how do we make sense of that?
Well, I think what the author is getting at here is that maybe this infinite goodness is like a universal force that's always there, even in the midst of hardship.
Okay.
And it's about recognizing that force, right? Both within ourselves and in the world around us.
Yep.
So like a challenging experience might be difficult in the moment for sure, but it can ultimately lead to growth, resilience, a deeper understanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
And, maybe even a sense of like gratitude for what we've learned from that experience.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's
So it's
pretty-
not about pretending like bad things don't happen.
No, not at all.
But it's more about finding those little seeds of good that might be hidden within those experiences.
Exactly.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. And this brings us to another important point.
Okay.
The author talks about the importance of self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
in experiencing this infinite goodness.
Right.
It seems like the more they pay attention to their thoughts, feelings, and actions, the more they become aware of this goodness,
Yeah.
both inside themselves and in the world around them.
It's like a feedback loop almost. The more aware you become, the more you see the good, and then the more you see the good, the more aware you become.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a snowball effect. So how can we actually do that? How can we become more self-aware? Is it about meditating? Or just like hitting the pause button more often in our lives?
Well, I think it's probably a bit of both. Formal practices like meditation
Mm-hmm.
can definitely help to cultivate mindfulness,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also about integrating those mindful moments into our everyday routines.
Okay.
Like really savoring a meal,
Yeah.
taking a walk in nature, truly listening when someone is speaking to you.
Right.
Those are all opportunities to practice mindfulness and become more attuned to the goodness that's already all around us.
I love that. And something else the author mentioned?
What's that?
They talked about being surprised by
Right.
their own capacity for goodness.
Oh, interesting.
Like they would do something kind or brave and think, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, like we surprise ourselves sometimes with how much goodness we actually have within us.
Yeah. Have you ever had a moment like that? Oh, absolutely. I think we all have this innate capacity for goodness that often catches us off guard. It's like we tap into this wellspring of strength or compassion that we didn't even know we had.
It's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's really rewarding.
It's like you're connecting with something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes me think about that time when I helped that stranger change a flat tire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pouring rain.
Wow.
And I'm not exactly a car person, but something in me just said, go help that person.
That's great.
And you know what? It felt amazing.
Yeah, there's something so fulfilling about helping others.
It really is. So I think this deep dive into experiencing infinite goodness has been really eye-opening.
I agree.
It's about finding the good in the everyday
Yeah.
within ourselves, and even in those difficult situations. And it's about seeing that goodness as something that connects us all.
Yeah, that interconnectedness is a really powerful aspect of it.
So to wrap things up, I think the key takeaway here is that this infinite goodness is always available to us.
Absolutely.
If we just open our hearts and minds.
Hope so.
To experience it.
You got it.
I love that. So I guess to leave everyone with something to ponder,
Okay.
think about this. If you were to actively look for experiences of infinite goodness this week, where do you think you might find them?
Ooh, that's a good one to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, everyone. And thanks for joining us on this deep dive into infinite goodness.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful
Yeah.
and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time.